Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. We're unpacking some massive, world-spanning headlines today about one of the biggest tech companies on the planet. I mean, imagine waking up to the news that a tech giant has been ordered to pay nearly $1 billion, all because of how its platforms allegedly impact kids. Crazy, right? Well, it's not a rumor. We're going to break down exactly what's going on with Meta's colossal $942 million legal battle. We'll look at the hard numbers, the core allegations, and what this all means for the future of the apps sitting on your phone right now.
But first things first, we got to clear up some major global confusion. You've probably seen these dramatic headlines going viral everywhere, especially the ones screaming about an enormous Indian rupee fine of over 9,030 crore. But the reality, it's actually a 942 million US legal judgment coming out of a court in New Mexico. And crucially, it's a judgment specifically against Facebook and Instagram's parent company, Meta Platforms, rather than just some generic government fine. It's a very precise legal ruling, and honestly, getting that context right is absolutely key to understanding the whole situation.
So that brings us to the obvious question, what exactly is Meta paying for? To understand how we even get to a staggering figure of almost $1 billion, we really need to look at how the court calculated this liability. Because spoiler alert, it's not just one giant flat penalty slapped onto the company. It's actually made up of two very specific, very different financial orders that deal with completely separate parts of the lawsuit.
Breaking down that total $942 million, it basically splits into two distinct chunks. First, there's a $375 million slice for civil penalties, which, importantly, was ordered by a jury. And then you have an even bigger $567 million slice ordered later by a judge for what's called a harm abatement fund. We're going to dig into both of these slices right now because together they really tell the story of what the legal system is trying to accomplish here.
All right, let's start with that first $375 million chunk. Where on earth did that number come from? Well, it all traces back to one specific figure, $5,000. During the first phase of this trial, a jury found that Meta violated New Mexico's Unfair Practices Act. That $375 million penalty? It was calculated based on the maximum statutory penalty allowed, which is exactly $5,000 per violation. When you multiply $5,000 across the sheer scale of all the alleged violations, specifically regarding consumer protection and child endangerment, you literally hit that enormous $375 million figure in no time.
Now, what's really fascinating to me is that second, larger chunk. That $567 million isn't actually a traditional fine at all. Instead, it's a proactive harm abatement fund. This money is explicitly earmarked to treat and prevent alleged harms to young people over the next 5 years. To give you an idea of how that breaks down, roughly $420 million of it is dedicated specifically to youth treatment services, while the rest goes toward prevention, awareness, and screening programs. So it's an ongoing 5-year financial commitment, not just a one-and-done check written to the government.
And of course, a judgment like this doesn't just happen overnight. This whole progression started way back in December 2023, when New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres first filed the lawsuit. The case slowly marched on for years until March 2026, which is when a jury delivered that groundbreaking verdict of liability and those initial civil penalties. Then, just a few months later in August 2026, Judge Brian Beachside issued that massive $567 million abatement order we just talked about, bringing our grand total to the headline-making $942 million.
To trigger a legal battle of this sheer magnitude, the state had to bring forward some incredibly serious, multi-layered allegations. Essentially, New Mexico argued that Meta failed to adequately protect kids and teens on its platforms. They specifically highlighted some dark risks, things like exposure to sexually exploitative material and online solicitation by predators. On top of that, the state claimed that Meta actively misled consumers, meaning parents and everyday users, about how safe these digital spaces actually were for young people.
Now, it is absolutely crucial for us to stay objective here. While a jury did find Meta liable under New Mexico's consumer protection laws, the company strongly disagrees with these allegations and how the state characterized its conduct. Meta has made it crystal clear that they plan to appeal the ruling. So, this legal process, it's actively ongoing. An appeal could completely challenge the legal conclusions, the dollar amounts, or the mandated changes. The final outcome is still very much up in the air.
But look, beyond the staggering amounts of money and the ongoing courtroom drama, if you're a parent or have a teenager at home, your biggest question is probably a practical one. How will this court order actually change the apps on users' phones? Because the court didn't just tell Meta to open their wallets, they ordered them to fundamentally change how their products operate for minors. It's a huge shift in the actual user experience.
For starters, the court took direct aim at platform addiction. They ordered a strict limit of 90 hours per month for users under 18. If you break that math down, it averages out to roughly 3 hours a day. It is a direct structural intervention by the legal system to curb the sheer amount of time developing minds spend scrolling through these highly engaging, highly addictive platforms.
And it goes beyond just time limits. The user experience is going to shift even further with a whole suite of mandated safety orders. For younger users, like counts will be completely hidden by default unless a guardian approves them. There's also a strict ban on those distracting push notifications during school hours and overnight. Plus, the court is demanding much stronger age verification checks and robust tools for parental control. Basically, they're trying to systematically make the environment less risky by design.
Taking a step back, the foundational philosophical debate driving this entire explainer really boils down to this. Social media is inherently designed around engagement. Clicking, scrolling, interacting. And while most adults can handle that, kids and teenagers are still developing socially and cognitively. So, are technology companies legally responsible when their highly engaging algorithms expose vulnerable kids to risk? Should big tech be on the hook for algorithms that regulators say they could have and should have made safer?
The reason we're paying such close attention to this is that this New Mexico case is practically being viewed as a global blueprint for tech regulation. If other governments adopt this roadmap, Meta and other social media giants could be facing a massive worldwide regulatory reckoning. Governments everywhere are actively examining addictive design, teen privacy, recommendation algorithms, mental health, and child exploitation. The debate has officially moved from a local courtroom to a global stage.
Ultimately, the impact of this case extends way beyond that near billion-dollar price tag. If this judgment holds up through the appeals process, it could completely reshape the fundamental design of social media itself. So, I want to leave you with this final thought to consider. Will this staggering $942 million Meta judgment become the turning point for child safety on social media? Or is it just another incredibly expensive chapter in the ongoing legal war between global governments and big tech? Honestly, only time will tell.